Most people believe discipline is about strength, about being tougher, more focused, more motivated than everyone else. But here's a question that might stop you cold for a second. What if discipline was never meant to be hard at all? What if the reason you keep failing isn't because you're weak, but because you've been fighting your own brain this entire time? Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself, "Tomorrow I'll start," only to wake up feeling heavy, tired, and strangely resistant? That feeling isn't laziness, it isn't a flaw, it's biology. And once you understand this, something powerful happens. You stop hating yourself. You stop blaming your character. And for the first time, discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like clarity. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn will completely change how you see effort, focus, and self-control. Here's the uncomfortable truth most productivity gurus won't tell you. Your brain does not care about your goals. It doesn't care about your future, your dreams, or your potential. It was never designed to. Your brain evolved for one purpose only: survival right now. Over millions of years, it learned to conserve energy, avoid discomfort, and chase quick rewards. That's why scrolling feels effortless. That's why the couch feels magnetic. That's why starting feels painful. And no amount of motivational quotes can override that wiring. When you try to force discipline through willpower, you're asking a Stone Age brain to behave like a modern machine. And that internal conflict, that's the exhaustion you feel every single day. This is where most people turn discipline into self-hatred. They miss workouts and call themselves lazy. They procrastinate and label themselves broken. But listen carefully. Your brain is not sabotaging you. It's protecting you. It wants comfort because comfort once meant survival. It wants dopamine because dopamine once meant safety. When you open TikTok instead of working, your brain isn't failing, it's choosing the fastest relief available. And the tragedy isn't that you're undisciplined. The tragedy is that you were never taught how to work with your brain instead of against it. If you've ever felt guilt, shame, or frustration because you can't stick to things, this video isn't here to judge you, it's here to set you free. Here's where everything flips. Discipline, as most people imagine it, grinding harder, resisting temptation, forcing yourself, is actually the least effective way to change behavior. Neuroscience calls this cognitive ease. Your brain always chooses the path that requires the least effort, not because it's weak, but because it's efficient. That means the problem was never motivation. The problem was design. The most disciplined people you admire aren't battling themselves every day. They've simply removed the battle altogether. They don't rely on strength, they rely on structure. And once you understand this, discipline stops being heroic and starts being inevitable. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, uncovered something that completely reframes discipline. The people who succeed long-term are not more motivated. They are not more focused. They are better architects of their environment. They design their surroundings so that the right behavior is easier than the wrong one. They don't wake up strong, they wake up prepared. When willpower fades, and it always does, systems remain. This is why forcing yourself works briefly, then collapses. Fatigue always wins. And when fatigue wins, your brain returns to autopilot, and autopilot always chooses comfort. So here's the question that matters now. What if discipline isn't something you build inside yourself, but something you build around yourself? Because once you see this, you can stop trying harder and start designing smarter. In the next part, we're going to expose why your surroundings silently control your actions, and how tiny changes in what's visible, accessible, and immediate can reshape your habits without force. This is where discipline stops being a struggle and starts becoming automatic. Once you understand that your brain always chooses the easiest available option, the real battlefield becomes painfully obvious. Your environment, not your mindset, not your motivation. The physical space around you is constantly whispering instructions to your brain: what to do, what to ignore, what to crave. Most people never notice this. They believe self-control lives inside them, like a moral muscle they just haven't trained enough. But self-control is fragile. It collapses under friction. When temptation is close and effort is far away, the outcome is already decided before you even choose. That's why discipline feels inconsistent. It's not that you change, your environment changes your behavior for you. Picture a normal morning. You want to work out, truly, but your clothes are buried in a drawer, your shoes are somewhere you can't see, your phone is already in your hand, notifications are flashing, the couch is warm, the outside is cold. At that moment, your brain isn't weighing values, it's measuring distance. 3 steps to the couch versus 10 steps to discomfort. This is not a test of character, it's physics. Behavior follows the path of least resistance. And every time you try to push through instead of redesigning this setup, you're exhausting yourself unnecessarily. You're swimming upstream when you could simply redirect the current. James Clear calls this choice architecture, the idea that behavior is shaped by what's visible, available, and convenient. In one famous study, simply moving water bottles to eye level caused people to drink more water without motivation, reminders, or discipline. Nothing about the people changed, the environment did. That's the secret no one talks about. Discipline is not about becoming someone new, it's about arranging your world so the right action becomes the default. When the healthy choice is easier than the unhealthy one, the brain stops resisting. It complies, automatically. Now, imagine applying this to your life, not in theory, but in reality. Want to read more? Leave the book on your pillow, not on a shelf. Want to stop scrolling at night? Charge your phone outside the bedroom. Want to write? Open the document before you even sit down. These aren't motivational tricks, they're behavioral traps designed for your future self. You are setting ambushes for laziness. You are deciding once so you don't have to decide again. And that single shift, from effort to preparation, is what separates people who burn out from people who stay consistent. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Most people say they want discipline, but they secretly design their lives to avoid it. Their environment screams distraction, while their goals whisper ambition. And every failure reinforces a painful identity: I'm just not that kind of person. But that identity was never real. It was built by repeated friction, not lack of potential. The moment you change your environment, your behavior starts changing, and when behavior changes, identity follows. You stop saying, I'm trying, and start saying, this is just what I do. That shift is subtle, but it's life-altering. But even with the perfect environment, there's still one missing piece, because environment removes resistance, but habits create momentum. And the real magic happens when you stop creating habits from scratch and start attaching them to behaviors you already perform every day. This is where discipline stops being something you chase and becomes something that happens without asking. In the next part, you'll learn how to hijack your existing routines, stack behaviors together, and make progress feel effortless. This is where everything accelerates. By this point, you understand something most people never do. Discipline is not about force, It's about flow. And now we arrive at one of the most powerful tools ever discovered for creating that flow: habit stacking. Your life is already filled with habits you don't think about. You brush your teeth, you check your phone, you sit on the couch, you make coffee. These actions are automatic. They require no motivation because the decision has already been made thousands of times before. Habit stacking works by attaching a new behavior to one of these existing actions, piggybacking on momentum that already exists. Instead of asking your brain to start something new, which it hates, you simply redirect energy that's already moving. After brushing your teeth, you stretch for 2 minutes. After making coffee, you write one sentence. After sitting at your desk, you open the document. No negotiation, no debate, no later. The power here isn't the size of the habit, it's the inevitability of it. Starting is the hardest part of any task. Once motion begins, resistance collapses. And over time, these small actions compound into identity-level change. What looks insignificant today becomes unstoppable tomorrow. This is how disciplined lives are built, quietly, invisibly, without drama. Now let's destroy one of the most damaging myths people carry, that procrastination means you're lazy. Procrastination is not a character flaw, it is a design failure. When you avoid a task, it's not because you don't care, it's because the task is unclear, unattractive, difficult to start, or emotionally unrewarding. Your brain is not rejecting the goal, it's rejecting the process. And once you understand this, shame dissolves. The 4 laws of behavior change make this painfully obvious. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. Miss one of these, and the habit collapses. Most people miss all 4. They hide the habit, make it boring, demand too much effort, and offer no reward, then blame themselves when it fails. But when you redesign the habit, simplify it, shorten it, reward it, procrastination disappears without a fight. Action flows naturally. You don't need discipline because resistance no longer exists. The moment you stop asking, "Why am I like this?" and start asking, "How is this designed?" everything changes. There's a lie deeply embedded in productivity culture that needs to be burned to the ground, that you must love the process to be disciplined. You don't. Most disciplined people don't love routine. They don't feel excited every morning. They don't wake up inspired. What they have is something far more reliable than passion. They have inevitability. Their systems make the right action easier than the wrong one. Shoes are ready. Decisions are pre-made. Distractions are blocked. Accountability is built in. When behavior becomes the path of least resistance, emotion becomes irrelevant. This is the difference between people who depend on motivation and people who depend on systems. Motivation is unstable. Systems endure. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And when your systems are designed correctly, discipline stops feeling heroic and starts feeling boring. And boring is good. Boring means repeatable. Repeatable means sustainable. Sustainable means transformation. And now we reach the deepest truth of all. Discipline is not what you do, it's who you believe you are. Every action you take is a vote for an identity. Every time you show up, even imperfectly, you reinforce the belief that you are the kind of person who follows through. Identity shapes habits, and habits reinforce identity in an endless loop. You don't need to become disciplined overnight. You need to start casting votes in the right direction, one small, deliberate action at a time. Stop fighting your brain. Stop punishing yourself. Start designing your life with intention. Build systems that work on your worst days, not just your best ones. Because when structure replaces struggle, consistency becomes inevitable. And if you've made it this far, you already know what needs to change. So, here's the real question. What is the first habit you'll redesign today? Comment it below, because writing it down is already the first vote for your new identity. And if this video helped you see discipline differently, subscribe. This channel isn't about motivation, it's about building a life that works.